Welcome to Tea and Cornbread, a conversation with Sean and Tracy, where warmth, wisdom, and community come together. Just like a good meal shared with loved ones, our podcast brings heartfelt conversations with incredible people who are making a difference.
We spotlight community leaders, change makers, and everyday heroes who uplift, encourage, and support those around them. Grab a cup of tea, pull up a chair, and join us as we share inspiring stories, real talk, and a whole lot of love. Because when we come together, we nourish more than just our bodies, we feed our souls. Welcome everyone to Tea and Cornbread with Sean and Tracy. I'm Sean.
And keep going. Kyle
Welcome
says keep
everyone.
going.
Welcome everyone to Tea and Cornbread with Sean and Tracy. I'm Tracy.
And I'm Sean.
We're back as usual. We have a wonderful guest here today that we are going to talk about Laronne with hair loss. He's going to walk us through her profession and some of the techniques. We'll talk about some of the symptoms and some of the treatments, all in a nutshell, and during this next 30 to 45 minutes interview.
All right.
So welcome, Laronne. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my friend. We've known each other more than 10, 15 years already. That's been a long time, right? We've known each other a long time. So I'm just gonna tell you a little bit about her. Our guest is Laronne Quarles. Am I saying it right? Quarles,
yes.
A certified trichologist and hair loss specialist of over 30 years in the beauty wellness industry. She serves as the COO of the SBL Hair Loss Center in New Jersey and has dedicated her career to helping women understand the root cause of thinning hair and scalp issues. Through her holistic approach that combines trichology, nutrition, wellness, and scalp therapy, she helps women restore not only their hair, but also their confidence. Today, we're going to talk about the real reasons behind hair loss and what your scalp health says about your overall health and practical steps women can take to support healthy hair growth naturally. Please help me welcome Miss Laronne Quarles of New Jersey. Yay!
Thank you.
Hey, my sister. Thank you for accepting the invitation of being on Tea and Cornbread today. But we want to dive in to your specialty. We want to dive into how you've been helping women and, and then we'll ask you a few questions at the end of, giving people those tips that they can start like right now before they even have to come to see you. All right. So tell us some more.
Yes,
tell us,
ma'am.
And then tell us how you got started with this, because I think our own journey is always a great journey when we're connecting with people and and passionate about certain things, right? Certain ways of helping women. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Where would you like me to start first, by saying tidbits about the business or the journey first?
Your journey of, what brought you to here. You've always been a cosmetologist, but what brought you to hair loss? What brought you to, knowing that, I need to help women with this? What brought you to that?
Well, when I first, I usually tell this when I'm doing my social media live sessions, or either if I get the chance to just talk about me, because I hate to just come on and just start, this is what you need to do about your heart health.
Right.
Sometimes I like to just kind of open it up, even though my coach always says, nobody cares. They just want to know what's important to them. I do like to put it out there, but I remember when I used to go to hair events all the time, I was one to always take a lot of classes, a lot of training, because I'm an information magnet. So I love knowing about stuff. And I was invited by my beauty supply company here in Philadelphia. They're called Nice Barber and Beauty Supply. They used to have a store in New Jersey. They had one in Delaware, Maryland area, and they also had one in Philly. So they would always have classes and training. When I took one of their classes, quick weaves were out. They were really big, and I was learning quick weaves, but I was doing quick weaves without using that coating they would put around the hair so that you put water on it and it would rinse away. So I was doing it, but of course back then we didn't really know the impact of what we were doing. We were just doing it, giving clients what they wanted, and suffering the consequences later. I hate to say it like that, but we were all guilty. So one day I had the opportunity to go to a quick weave training with the chemist of one of the it was like Wonder Weave Bond or Wonder Bond or something like that. The chemist was coming out because he was going out personally to beauty supplies to get us to learn about the product. But Nice Beauty had another trichologist coming out teaching a class, and you had to sit for his class before you can go to the Wonder Bond, the Wonder Weave class. So I said, okay, I don't have a choice. I paid to see this, so I'm going to sit through it. But I think God puts us in rooms for a reason, because he makes room for your gift.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to put you there. If you are ready for the gift, you're going to take advantage of the gift. And it was like my head opened up like a lock, and the information went in because he started talking about health and wellness, and the lights just start going bing, 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 bing.
Uh-huh.
It was like a light bulb moment for me, and that's how God always delivers things to me. Even when the Holy Spirit led me in different places, it's like light bulbs will just go off, and I'm like, are you kidding? I needed this, and I didn't know anything about trichology because I came out of beauty school in 1987, and trichology was just being really ramped up and introduced, not really in New Jersey, but it had just started in the 70s. So by 1987, when I came out of high school, it still wasn't a thing. It wasn't even in our My Lady textbooks.
Mm-hmm.
So as he started telling us how everything in the body is related to how hair grows, I was just like, I prided myself on knowing everything there is to know about hair, how to cut hair, how to color hair, how to weave hair, install hair. So when he told us this, it was just a gift. And I said, I don't know nothing about this, but I'm going to save up and I'm going to take his training, because I had been taking trainings everywhere for years since I had been a hairstylist, going to Pivot Point, taking all these classes and going to Dudley and things like that. So when I wanted to take his class, it required me to have to be away from home for like 5 days. Back then, people had classes for like 5 days or a week.
Right.
And I was like, okay. So I had to save up for it. And that was like a big investment for me, because you had to pay for the class, you had to pay for the airport and the hotel and feeding yourself while you're there. That was like the biggest outlay for me ever, because I just wasn't used to that. So it took a while for me to save, because I was, doing 1,000 things, trying to put myself through college and all that. So when I went, immediately once I went, and I patterned myself and framed my classes and my work just like he did, because he gave us everything we needed. He gave us the education. He gave us all the tools, and he told us how to market ourselves. So when I work with my students now, do the same thing. I give you everything you need now, so you don't have any excuses. Right. So from that moment on, that day in 2010, after I took his training, I was like, oh, I'm a trichologist. I'm a trichologist, because it was in me at that point. And then a few years later, I went to take the trichology certification. In between that, I had met with your girlfriend, Danielle McBride. I happened to meet her at one of Shamika's Beauties events in northern New Jersey, and I just met her, and I just jumped in, and she needed some help manning her digital platform while she was talking. It was a little ineffective to talk and try to work her information. So I was like, oh, I'll do it. She was like, okay, because I had just taken his training, so I kind of knew it. And back then, anyone who's everyone went to Rodney Barnett and took his training. Yes. So that's how I got my start. And then a few years later, through the help of Danielle, of course, she was just like, just take the test, take the
Let's do
test.
it. Yeah.
Stop playing around, take that exam. And if it wasn't for her, because I was scared to death, I probably wouldn't have taken it because it was a lot. It was a lot of information. It was as if I had went back to college. It was
Mm,
a lot. It was a lot about anatomy and how body physiology works and hormones. And I was just like, what in the world? But it was a lot of information. And
hmm
that's how I got my start. So when I moved in this center in 2016, I just tried to just, catapult and take off. And it just really opened up the doors for me in 2016. Now it's, 2026. So
Right. 10 years
it has
later.
been a journey. It has been
Yeah.
a journey, but I thank God for placing me here because I probably would have retired and gone off into something else.
hmm
But I just feel as if there's a need because there aren't enough of us,
hmm
even though there are plenty of us here in New Jersey. I just feel like I just need to stay put. When I ask God to make room for me and where does he want me to be, it keeps seeing as if this is it. This is it for me. So
hmm
I just try to stay here because I just feel like I'm effective here.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm cut out to sit behind a desk from 9 to 5. That's not really
Right.
my thing.
hmm
So
hmm
I enjoy being here because I it's not that I call myself helping a lot of women. Once I help them understand how everything relates to where they are, they're like, I didn't know that. I'm like, yeah, yes, it's that serious. So
hmm
that's why I stay because when people say, I went to a dermatologist and I'm just like, oh goodness, here it comes. I just know I need to stay here because we fill in the back end and the missing pieces of what people do not get from their dermatologists.
Right. Right. Awesome. Awesome. So that, I mean, Trey, be, stop me if you're ready to jump in. But
Go ahead.
um when you say that, right? Because we get those conversations all the time. We get them all the time. Somebody always comes after they went to a dermatologist, right? And sometimes they get some results, but not lasting results, not sustainable results, because they're only dealing with it from the outside, not the inside. And some trichologists, some dermatologists don't even believe in trichology. That's a different story. But this is why you're out here. This is why I'm out here. This is why there's, Danielle, there's so many people out here trying to help our clients in many different ways because they don't really want to go in a clinical setting because a clinical setting is intimidating. They feel scared. They feel like something's definitely wrong. And they're just still being thrown medications to their whatever their symptom is and whatever. So tell
Right.
us, when you have that client that comes in that that's at their wits end, right? They're at their wits end. They've had the biopsy because that's what I'm hearing a lot of now. The biopsy. They're using minoxidil. They're using all of these things, and they still feel like, yeah, but something's still wrong. Something
Right.
still feels wrong. What do you say to that client?
I don't know why it always makes a lot of sense to me. I've always like just heard and read and seen in literature how people like our grandmothers and our mothers years prior they were termed when they would have bouts of amnesia or bouts of uh, sickness or illness or something where they seem kind of like spaced out, they were seen as crazy and they were put in mental institutions and then they were shocked that things were done to them because time was not ready to understand that hormonal shifts in women cause different things. Severe gut issues in women cause a lot of issues with clarity and mental thinking. It's going to be a while before the world is going to catch up with where I want them to be. Is
Mhm.
life is not going to move where I want it to move, but I see this stuff flying around in my head, and I know one day it's going to get there. I'm just going to keep putting it out, and it's just going to land where it's supposed to land. And hopefully, the way we understand women's health now, they will understand trichology in a way that needs to be understood the way women's health was not understood way back then when they would call us his soul. So it's not us being hysterical any more than men between the ages of 18 and 25. A lot of them go through their mental clarity spells, and you see them walking up and down the street, losing their mind. It's hormones are something else. And when God put that in us, those hormones, when they get a little off, they start fulfilling different things in different people. So I'm always chatting with people about hormones. So I just really just wanted to just put that out there. How else could I guess get this across to you other than I just feel like this just needs to be heard. It needs to be out here. More people need to be identified with it, I guess, because it's just hair and scalp analysis are going to be as commonplace as having a vaginal pap smear in another 10 to 20 years, because I'm just going to keep praying to God that he makes this happen, because it has to happen. The world has to catch up. Hair and scalp analysis has to be as common as a vaginal exam. It has to be, because women and men out here are losing their hair in record numbers, and it's mind blowing. I just use that a lot because it blows my mind.
So, as a consumer, what brings me to you as a trichologist? I've never heard of one. I don't know what you do. I'm that person. What would bring me to come to you outside of going to see my dermatologist, as you explained, as you were talking about? That would be my first stop, because I don't know any better. I don't even know what a trichologist is as a consumer. So, how would I know to reach out or look for your profession?
You wouldn't, because you're not going to really know that we are an option until you begin your search. If you go into Google and you say hair loss, thinning hair, if we put in the right search terms in our Google marketing, or in our marketing at all, when you start putting in hair loss, women's hair loss, we're going to come up. So you wouldn't know to search me out until you start doing your search. Like, I'm not going to disappear in your purview. I won't come up in your search, because we are not we're not mainstream. We have not been used to visiting a trichologist, so you wouldn't know. So many of the people who reach me, they've been following me for a while because they saw something, or they had been searching, they had been looking around, and then someone says, "Oh, you need to see a trichologist," or a hairdresser will recommend you. So it's not something you would really know about. Really, you would have to really be searching, and it would just come up in a search.
What are some of the symptoms that I'm going to look for? And I know you're probably saying your hair is falling out, but there has to be something else that goes along with that, outside of just my hair falling out, that I would know, okay, now I know you're out there, I can seek you out. But what are some of those key points outside of me just losing my hair that I should be looking for when I come to you to be able to discuss?
Could you ask me that again? Because I'm not really sure.
I don't know. Will my first stop be with you because I'm losing my hair? Or are there other things that go along with that outside of me just losing my hair? You know what I'm saying? You talked about hormones. What else would lead to, well, maybe a better question is, what else maybe would lead to me losing hair? Is there anything in my daily life that I could be doing that contributes to that? Or how do we fix that or work on that, I guess?
You wouldn't. I can blindly say that I can list on my hand about maybe 5 to 10 things, but I wouldn't know what's going on with you unless you came to me with an issue, and then we delve into your personal life, into your physiological being. I wouldn't be able to tell you, this is it, until I had a chance to interview you, like you're interviewing me. I really don't know. But other than illness and sickness, bacteria, viruses, fungus, protozoa, parasites, hormones, mechanical styling, stress. It's so many things
there's
contribute
a plethora
to hair.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but you yourself wouldn't know that those things were causing you an issue unless you came in and had a scan. You would just reach out to someone like me because someone would say, oh, visit a dermatologist. Then someone else would say, visit a trichologist. But it probably wouldn't just come up that you will come see someone like me. No one really knows that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go ahead,
So,
Sean.
yep. So when we talk about your work
Mm-hmm,
and going and basically talking about what Tracy was just asking. So,
mm-hmm.
Tracy, usually if somebody is like their hair is just changing, right? Their hair is changing, it's thinning, it feels softer, things like that will send up a signal. But you would
Mm-hmm.
usually go to your hairdresser and say, "Hey, this is what's going on with my hair," or "Did you notice this, that, and the other?" Right? The hairdresser usually, your stylist would usually, I shouldn't say usually, some stylists, I want to say from our era, that I'll say it that way, right? Because 86, 87, we off, you know, some know about trichology, but most will say go to a dermatologist if it wasn't chemically broken or anything that the stylist can pinpoint. Oh, wait, maybe the color I put in your hair, or maybe the relaxer I put in your hair,
Okay.
whatever, you know what I mean? But when you see a difference in your hair, your scalp, that will give you an indication. Oh, I need to figure out something, right? Now, um, uh, when we talk about your work, Laronne, did that answer your question? I'm sorry, Tracy.
No,
Did
no,
that,
no, it did.
that
I
give you
just,
more
yeah, because I'm
insight?
just
That
thinking,
gave you,
no, it does.
yeah.
Because as a consumer, I'm just wondering, I know my hair falling out. Why would that be my first stop? The trichologist over the dermatologist. That's, yeah. So,
Well,
or
it
what
wouldn't
would be my
necessarily,
clue? What would be my clue
right.
that, you know,
But it wouldn't really necessarily be your first stop. Because usually when it's your hair, people go to a hairstylist. They go to a hairstylist, and that hairstylist can determine if it's something that they can do, if it's something that they can correct, or they would say usually go to a dermatologist unless they know what a trichologist is or know a trichologist.
okay.
That's where, and so Laronne, what you saying, years from now, we want it to be, your scalp and hair analysis is going to be like going to your OB. You know what I mean?
Part of
It,
your preventive makeup, kind of.
exactly.
Yeah.
Part of your maintenance, part of the things that will make sure that you're on a healthy path,
Mm-hmm.
but it is, I mean, because trichology has been around for decades. It's been around for decades, but it has been not quote unquote considered real, right? Because when they're looking at trichologists, Laronne, you can correct me. I should ask you the question. You answer the question because I'm not a trichologist, but right. But I'm not a trichologist. So I'm going to ask you that question, right? So when we're talking about the scope of work you do you
Mm-hmm.
find that when you are with a client and they have already expelled all their chances, all their options, rather, right? And they come to you, and another question I have on top of that is, do you work with dermatologists? Because I know that there are some dermatologists don't believe in trichology, but then there's some that have noticed, let me incorporate trichology into what I'm doing, into my dermatology practice, so that I can help these women a little bit better, right? What is your take on that? And what is your experience when it comes down to, whether you work with a dermatologist or whether you are feeling like sometimes that dermatologists dismiss you or they don't think that you're important for a client, for a patient?
Well, as a matter of fact, I don't believe that dermatologists necessarily dismiss us and see us as not needed because they need to be briefed about what it is we do, just like everyone else. So when I visit, countless events and professional events, and dermatologists are in participation, they're already under the that they are there to share information and we're there to learn and vice versa. And we usually pose questions to them and let them know what it is that our clients are expressing. They'll tell us what they go through. So there are a lot that know we are here, but that's a small
Window.
small number of people. So it's just that many need to be more aware. The other problem that we have with dermatologists are MDs, they are physicians, and many of them, if they are not provided clinical information or or research studies, they're not trying to hear it because they want to hear what has a doctor said about this, what has been put
Okay.
out in the NIH, what has been put out in public. So a lot of them, if we have not been involved in clinical trials or any clinical studies, they don't really want to hear anything about what we have to say. They don't value it. But there are a small few. There are a small few. When I go to my convention, there are dermatologists there. So there are some. It's just not very many.
Okay. This is why we're having
And
this
I myself in
conversation.
my area, I don't work with any. Yeah, I don't work
Yeah.
with any dermatologist specifically. I would love to, but it's just because I'm wearing three hats. I'm educating, I'm still styling, and I do the consultations. I would love to be able to services and work for a dermatologist because there
Right.
are a lot of stylists that do.
Right.
But I don't right now because I still have some of my own things. Once you work for a derm, you have to physically be there for them.
Right.
And I don't have that kind of time, but I would love to. I would love to be able to work closely with a derm.
What are some of the, like, if you can share some of the standard practices when you do have someone that comes to you with a hair loss? What are some of the things that you would suggest for them to do once you've ran you narrowed it down to what the cause is? So what is your some of the suggestions you may have, just standard stuff, not, specific to any person?
Well, it's not that it's something that I can't share. What I say to everyone is it's not have it your way like Burger King.
Right.
Everyone's journey will not be the same. When coming, oh, I mean, because people ask me that all the time. Well, what can I do? What can I do? I don't know because I haven't assessed you. I don't really know what's running through your blood, what you've been exposed to, what your traumas are. I don't really know what's affecting you. So I just can't say this is good for you. So when clients come in, I tell them, just like Rodney Barnett told me years ago, if your body is not balanced, if you're not working toward balance at all, you will never have effective hair growth. So the first thing I do is if a client comes in and she has issues with maybe digestion, I'll start from the top down. With digestion, we have to supplement digestion. She may need enzymes. She may need digestive bitters. She may need hydrochloric acid. She may need something to help with liver bile and gallbladder assistance. So she may need, omegas right for her gallbladder. She may need liver and a liver detox. She may need something to help her gut because if you're eating and you can't digest the food or you're taking GLP-1s and it's slowing your gastric emptying, we got to fix that because nothing else is going to work. So I go from the top down and I chip away at everything that's on your scan. So Tracy, when you say, what is it that you do specifically? I work with everyone specifically, and whatever your scan tells me you need, we can't just fix A and B. We go from A to Z, and we do it all at one time because your hair, it needs full balance. It
Yeah.
can't, you just can't, oh, I'll just work on a liver detox. No, you have to do it all. And it's not difficult because the bulk of what it is we provide our clients are liquids. Liquids,
Okay.
when we use liquids, we also use oils. It's not going to bother them. So I try to make sure clients everything because most of the products we use synergistically work together. So if I'm giving you something, it's all from the company, so they all work well together. And the
Okay.
oils, you place them in different areas of your body. I work on everything at one time, everything. So it's just that when a person comes to me, they're out of balance. I work on getting the whole core of the body balanced immediately. So
Okay.
whatever comes up on the scans, that's what we work on.
So it's kind of like we talk about all the time with health and nutrition. It's a lifestyle change that people need to adapt, even moving forward. You can give them the tools, they just got to utilize them, use them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And now
Yep.
my other question with that is, when you give them the tools, do you coach them through it? So
I
meaning when you
do.
give, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So what does that look
That
like?
is that is a big one for me because when I have clients that are extremely particular, when they want line by line items, when they're very super detailed, very T type, very stability oriented, I need to do it just like this. I just try to share with my clients, it just needs to be done. However you can fit it in, you can do it. As I've gotten better with my CRMs, I try to include a lot of automation. So the automations are just constant reminders. Have you gotten rest today? Did you go ground day, Sean, because you gave me that one. I tell them, make sure you go grounding. Make sure you're taking your probiotics, taking your fiber. Make sure you take a moment for you. Like I send so many automatic clients always say, you send me a lot of text and email. I'll say, yeah, because you need to be supported. If you're not supported, you're not inclined to do it. So I have these automations and texts and emails that go to everyone, but not all of my clients like it. But I send them out anyway because I don't ever want someone to say, well, she done so much stuff and she never said boo-hoo cat dog or
Right,
checked in on me to
right.
see how I'm doing or anything. So I follow up with everyone until they tell me they don't want it. And I let them
Okay.
immediately, I'm going to follow up. I'm going to see how you're doing. I said, if I need to call you and tell you to open up your refrigerator, I'll probably do that too. So just know that I'm going to be here because you paid me to deliver you a service. So I'm going to be here to hold your hand. And I
Mm-hmm.
do. But then
Mm-hmm.
I have the other clients who are like, well, I just want to buy my own products. I'm doing my own thing. And when they do their own thing, I don't follow up because you should do everything with products I know nothing about from you're getting things from Walmart and Walgreens
Right,
and
right.
from, I don't know anything about those products. So I don't tend to follow up with people who don't allow me to be included in the process. I know how my products work. I know how these things work. I'd rather you use this because I know the results it's going to bring.
Mm-hmm.
So I do follow up. I do hold my clients' hands and I try to make sure that they send me their images so I can see how they're doing, so I can monitor everything because as soon as they send me their images, I'm sending them images right back. Look how well your hair is doing. Look from one month to the next month. Like, because I want them to understand if you don't see it, I see it. So
Right, right.
I try my best to support my clients as much as possible because I get women who are anxious, who have husbands at home that are just like, if you don't do something with this hair, they
Mm-hmm.
tired of wearing a wig. They some women have never even walked inside of a beauty supply store to purchase a wig. Like they don't know how to do it. They've gone online and they do not want to walk inside of a store. So I get women with so many anxieties and I try to be here the best way I can for them and support them as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's
So this
great.
is for both men and women, or is it geared toward just women?
I choose not to service men because to me, men are not really forthcoming with the details that I need. They're not really open
Okay.
to a process. All men are usually A types. I want. Just tell me this. But they don't want to give me the
Okay.
details. I can't really help them effectively when they're not really forthcoming with details. They don't really like to share. I started out my business helping men, but men are not as fully involved in the process like women are.
Okay.
Women are inclined to be a bit more vulnerable, men not so much, and it's too much for me to pull it out of you. If I need blood work, I need blood work. They
Okay.
don't even want to give blood work. Like I don't really have the patience when you don't want to give me what I need to do my job effectively.
Right. Good,
Makes
good.
sense. Okay. Okay.
So you just mentioned blood work. Tell us more about the different modalities that you use or services that you use to come to a conclusion or come to, so you do the hair and scalp analysis. How does that happen? You do the blood work. How does that happen? What other modalities do you use?
I use three types of scanning services. I use the Zyto that I've been
Mm-hmm.
using since I was originally trained years ago. Zyto has a program also called a Viscera Link. It works
Okay.
much like iridology when we, saw the doctor that we saw
Yeah.
at the event.
Yeah.
It works similar to that, but it's a bioresonance device, just like the Zyto, where the client can actually take their phone and scan their face, and it would just take a map of the face. And this helps me when a client doesn't live in my area. If they want to be
Okay.
assisted, I just send them the link, or I will ship them the Zyto. Having this link is much more effective, but if I have to do either, I'll either send them the Zyto or I'll give them the app so they can scan their face,
Mm-hmm.
and they can do that. That's if they do not have blood work. If they do not have blood work, it's another tool that I can use to uh, get to where I need to get to help that client. As I say all the time to people who ask, well, what is it and does it work and how do I use it? You don't have to worry. All I say to people is there's more than one way to skin a cat. I don't need you to really get bogged down in the details. Just know I can do my job effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, I use another bioresonance device called a bioscan. You just stick your finger in the device, and it kind of like if you're getting like maybe a blood pressure reading, it measures your body's reading just by sticking your finger in it, and electronically it will let me know what areas of your body need help the most, what
Yeah.
are higher on the list, what your body is telling me it needs, and that's where we start. And then lastly, had it my way, I would use this for everyone because it allows me to take like fasting blood insulin. It goes deep into like liver enzymes and AST, It goes into thyroid. It goes much deeper. And I take my clients' blood work if they have it and input their results into a functional blood chemistry analysis. So it works a little bit differently than traditional blood work, and it gives me way more information because it's comparative and it's giving you trends, and it does that for a reason, because if the functional blood chemistry software notices trends, it allows as integrative functional wellness providers to recommend that you go see additional providers based on what it is that we see. You may need, I've had a young lady come in the other day who goes to the bathroom maybe once every 2 weeks. She had IBD, and it was recommended in her functional blood chemistry analysis that she needs to go see a gastroenterologist.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So, I just write things down. I take a copy of their functional blood chemistry analysis, get them to sign a HIPAA compliance release, and I write them a letter. I'm like, you need to go see your gastroenterologist because this is what your FBCA told
Mm-hmm.
me. I see trends that come up in the report. We recommend that out because that's out of our wheelhouse. But we use things like that to let, this is in print. This is what your blood work told me we need to start. These are your contributors why you're having the issues you're having. So I use those three items to help me find out where we need to start. Where do we need to give you balance immediately? And then
Nice.
in addition to that, I use the to evaluate your scalp to see if there's redness and erythema and swelling, if there's acne and pustules on the scalp, is there yeast and congestion on the scalp? Do I see good capillary health? What is the condition and clarity of your scalp? Do I see miniaturization? Do I see folliculitis? It allows me to see what I need to see so that I can tell you uh, there are no follicles. You have biofilm, you have yeast. I see that with the hair scalp dermoscope or the trichoscope. I also use nutrition because I went and got my nutrition and fitness certification a few years
Mm-hmm.
back. So now I assess nutrition because,
Mm.
like I said, listening to others, watching others, learning from others, seeing how they incorporate things into their practice. It was like a light bulb moment for me because I realized something was missing, and I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, something else to be within my consultations. And then I came upon nutrition because I was finding coming back in 3 to 6 months and their skins were still showing this thing. And I'm like,
Same thing.
what do
Mm-hmm.
you haven't changed, haven't done anything? Oh, well, I try.
Right.
Now it's just non-negotiable. I let my client know, if you do not do this, your liver fat is to increase. You're going to have XYZ. This has to change. This food has to change. This is non-negotiable. And I also started including blood type testing because I'm of the opinion that type A's, ABs need to eat a certain way. B's and O's are prone to other things and they need to eat a specific type of way. So I've like really expanded. I've expanded the amount of services and I've taken down the price that it takes to sit with me for an hour. But I felt that I needed to provide more value while reducing the price. When I was charging a lot more, I wasn't providing as much value. Now I provide way more value. Lastly, I also for clients who have eczema, psoriasis, and skin issues, I also add an allergy test, and it tests that they needed. And I also include microscopy, which really isn't needed because I can do my job effectively without microscopy. But I took the training anyway because I wanted to see what value it would add to my business.
Now, what is microscopy?
Microscopy, we had learned it a little bit in our training, but it just wasn't extensive. It's where we take a look at the individual pulled hairs straight from the vertex under a microscope, and we're looking at the internal root sheath. And based on the color and the size of it, we're able to have you been miniaturizing for a long time? Or have you been dealing with stress? Because there are just markings, just like on a tree. I tell everyone, if you go outside with a small axe, you may not be able to cut a huge tree down, but if you take this axe and you just keep plucking away at it every so often, you're going to see markings in the tree. It's the same in a hair shaft. I can tell at certain periods of your life, have you been under a lot of stress? Do you have genetic disorders? What kinds of things are going on in your life? Because I can see it, in a timed fashion on your hair follicles. So I use that to help me determine a few things as well.
Awesome. That's a lot.
It is. This a lot. It's a lot.
I'm sorry. I just feel like I'm
No. That's
it definitely is needed. Yeah.
Right. Because people don't know.
Right.
They don't know this. They don't know that these services are available.
Right.
They don't know these services are available. So this is why this conversation is important. It's important.
Definitely.
And yeah. What were you gonna say?
I just wanted to add to what Trace had asked me earlier. Why would you see a trichologist? Lately, I was on this kick years ago. Nobody should see a dermatologist. A dermatologist isn't going to do anything for you. Of course, I've had to grow.
Everybody does.
Thought process. Now
we lost Tracy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. She'll come back. She'll come back.
Okay. Now I have started saying to clients or anyone, when I talk about this, I talk about the need to have like a resource in your hip pocket. You need your dermatologist because we fill different roles. A dermatologist is not a trichologist. A dermatologist is only going to look at your scalp and assess what he sees on your scalp. He's not going to go further than the scalp. If you want someone to go further from the scalp and talk about what's inside, you have to see a trichologist. If you want someone to help you with your hair, you have to see a hairstylist. If you want someone to help you with your hormones, you're going to have to go to a gynecologist or a HRT doctor or get a nurse practitioner. So you need your team. So I've really been saying that for the past year. Like, yes, you can utilize all of us. You're not going to get everything from one person. You're just not. Nope. You have to have a team. That's just how it is. So I have been just really making that statement a lot. Like, have a village to help tackle all of your.
Awesome. Tracy, we lost you for a second, but you're back. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. But I am back. I just have another question, which may sound crazy, but even going through the process, I would say, I'll knock on wood, you never know what happens in life. When you are going through and doing everything you're telling people to do, the products that you suggest, one of my main questions would be, and not trying to be vain, but my hair is going to come back I know it's a process. Will it come back maybe as thick and the same texture as it is? You know, I'm going through something, so I'm just thinking, you know, would that change? Like the texture or the, I don't even know if the right word is the quality of my hair, but, you know, going through the process.
Uh, what we aim to do is provide you balance as quickly as possible, reduce inflammation as quickly as possible. So everything that we're doing is going to serve your needs on the inside. How it's not going to change your DNA and your makeup. The majority of women and men have multiple textures on their heads of hair. So it's not going to magically change your texture. However, with sickness and illness, sometimes textures do change. After chemotherapy, textures change. With age, sometimes textures change slightly, but it's not going to change your texture. What we aim to do is help you increase your density, help you increase hairs in those follicles. So what we do is not going to help you magically change your texture. Can't really
Okay.
change DNA.
So, okay, so we'll wrap up with,
Well, one more question.
okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. I thought you were going to
No,
wrap up. I thought you were going to wrap
no,
up.
go ahead.
And if these questions are, you know, to the left, just let me know. The work that you do, is it geared more toward, or do you see more of women of color versus other nationalities, or it just does not matter again?
I see all women. However, what I run into most often, which is a misnomer, it's a fallacy, it's not true. However, many people are not comfortable in their own skin and they're not comfortable treating different cultures. What I share with everyone is the same on every call. I don't mind all cultures coming to me, but I will say this. Two things tend to happen most often. If you are multicultural and you're not familiar with African Americans, you may not be inclined to want to see an African American because you believe an African American doesn't know your struggle. What I say to all women is all women have ovaries, they have estrogen, progesterone, they bleed. If you cut, they bleed. We're all going to die. It's the same. It doesn't matter what
It's
you
the
look like.
same.
I tell
Okay.
everyone, if you have hair, I can assist you. If you have hair, yes, I can help you. You have hair. But people get into this thing, oh, well, she's black, she can't help me. And I have the same people who visit me and they'll say, well, I didn't want to go to a white trichologist because I don't know if they're going to understand my hair. And I say, you don't know.
Right.
It's not what you think. We're to help you understand the problems and the changes and the challenges with your hair. It really doesn't matter what skin color you are. You should have the same issues we all have. So I don't necessarily have a problem. I service all women. My second tidbit is I don't mean it the way it sounds. I hope this doesn't offend me. Caucasian women and women who don't look like us, they do not wait. If they lose one strand of hair, they're at the doctor. People of different cultures, they utilize different specialists, and a lot of their specialists that they're already utilizing will conflict with what it is that I need to provide them. And I never wish to step on any toes, but because they're very proactive, they do not wait. When they notice things, they work on them and they implement them quickly. However, they'll have many specialists with whom my work will conflict. Because if they're visiting with an HRT doctor or an integrative specialist or some sort of wellness specialist, their particular plan is not centered around hair loss and hair fall. Their plan is centered around general wellness. And when I need to implement certain products and services, usually my recommendations conflict because they love and trust their integrative wellness specialist or whoever it is they're working with, or their homeopath, or whoever is in their hip pocket. It's a little bit hard to implement new offerings when they already have things in place. So it's a challenging on two ends. Either they believe you can't help them because of color, or they have a lot of help at their disposal, and my help kind of gets lost. So sometimes it's a bit challenging to service people of different cultures or I don't like to say, Caucasian women, but just other women other than African American women. And I find it best for me to stay in the lane of servicing African American women. It's a bit easier, and a lot of us aren't utilizing all of that before they see me. I don't know if that makes sense.
Does that make sense, Trey?
No, it does.
Oh.
It does. I'm glad that you opened it up and said, though, that you are open to seeing different cultures and that they are welcome, and you don't want them to have that stereotype and be afraid to come and see you. That's kind of why I asked that, because sometimes when you see the three of us on the piano and whatever the topic is, they're automatically thinking that's not for them.
Right.
Right. So we, sometimes we do have to let them know it's okay. Come on in. You know what I mean? But I like what you said. We are women. That's all we need to know. That's the beginning and the end right there.
Right.
So,
and if you're not getting any results from all of those specialty, people that you're already dealing with, but you're still having issues, why not? Why not come in and see if this person can help you? And if not, then, I understand the whole, I understand it at the same time, like you said, when they see the three of us, then they say, oh, they're not talking to me.
Right.
But I love how she said, no, all women have ovaries, all women have hair hormones, all women have, hair loss issues, all women have hair, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, if you're a woman, period, if you're a woman, period.
Your training is not specific to, it's for everybody. So.
It's from people with hair. Women with hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So
we're gonna help spread the word for you, Laronne.
Yes.
That's what we're gonna do. Help spread the word.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, especially because of the different the value that you bring to them, and this is a great conversation. And I'm hoping that those that are listening, if you are stuck or you've tried everything but you haven't tried Laronne, I suggest you reach out to her. I know we said at the beginning how can they find you, but let's say it again. Tell us how they can find you. If they need to book a call, I know that you just take by appointments only. There's no walk-ins. I remember that, which is great because that gives them privacy. And also they can vet you like you can vet them. Maybe my services are not what you need. Maybe someone else, and you can probably refer them to somebody that they may need to see before they come to see you, or vice versa, whatever way you want to do it. But let them know how they can find you.
We have two websites. One of my websites is Hair Loss Center NJ, and that's loss, LOSS. So it's Hair Loss Center NJ.com. And then we also have it written out, Hair Loss Center of New Jersey.com. And we can also be found on Facebook, SBL Hair Loss. We can be found on TikTok, SBL Hair Loss. We can be found on YouTube, SBL Hair Loss, and also on Instagram at Hair Loss Center NJ.
Awesome.
Nice.
So I want to thank you for your time. I thank you for, explaining what trichology is and what it entails, like the depth of it. This was a great conversation to know the depth of it, right? And I wish you all the best. I wish that the person that is listening and seeing this is going to reach out to you to say, listen, I'm at my wit's end. How could you help me? And if they are not, if they don't know what kind of conversation they can do, they can go and check you out at TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, to get more of a feel and to listen to what you're doing, because you're teaching on these platforms. And so this way you can learn more about what she does and how she does it, and learn more about even your body. You may not even know that some of the things that you're dealing with could be the root cause of your hair loss. So I thank you again, Laronne.
Thank you.
This is Tea and Cornbread.
Thank
Don't
you.
forget to like, subscribe, and share. and comment. Let us know what your
Yes.
story is. If you've been looking or if you've experienced going to, you experience hair loss or anything like that, put your comments in the chat, and we will love to have this conversation and continue this conversation with you. All right. So thank you,
Thank
thank you,
you.
thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.